Hi, Al. Good to have you back on the platform.
Thank you, my friend. Good to be back. Yeah, it hasn't been as long a break as we had prior to the last one, thankfully. So I think we're back in the swing of it.
I think we're getting into a rhythm, but again, we're not tied to that. We're not attached to that. As it flows, we'll just go with it. But yes, today we are back with a new guest, someone I'm so happy to have with us today. Her name is Claire Hudson. And she's a dear sister of mine who I've met along my journey of learning all these magical teachings that have been available out there for all of us. And so what we're going to do today is really talk about what she's offering to the world. And I think it's something that I think so many of us as women wished we had. But you'll get Claire to talk more about that. The offering that we're really going to focus on is what she calls becoming a woman. And you'll see the spelling of that is not your usual spelling. You'll see that in the title of the video. Claire, over to you. Thank you so much for being here. And let's just start with an introduction. Like, who is Claire?
Thank you, Tazzy. Thank you, Alison. So grateful to be here and to share the space with you. It's so wonderful. My name is Claire, and I'm 37. I'm a mom of three beautiful children. I've got an 11-year-old daughter, 8-year-old son, and a 5-year-old daughter. I'm a qualified teacher, foundation-based teacher, and early childhood development teacher. I taught for 8 years. And then when I had my son, we moved to Cape Town and I became a stay-at-home mom. And I really figured out that the reason why I became a teacher was to play with children and that is what I'm so passionate about, is about children, empowering children and allowing children to do what serves them best. That is what I'm just so deeply passionate about. And so being a mom, I've weaved a whole lot of things that's all been around play and creativity. And I held my own, I called it an extramural called Playscape Magic for 3 years, where I had all these kids come to my house on a Thursday afternoon and just play and create and be creative, and I transformed my garden every week into a different thing. And it was so amazing for me to watch these children just learn through play, all different ages. And so my journey, I then had my youngest daughter. But I'm not going to go into too much of that yet. But my journey with becoming a woman began last year, when I had a massive cyst in my ovary, and I didn't know it was there. And until it was the size, it was 3 liters full of liquid. And I had to get this, it felt like a water balloon at the end in my tummy. And I nearly lost my ovary because they wanted to cut out my right ovary. And after also, I was so blessed to find a doctor, a professor that was able to use keyhole surgery and take it out like that. So I didn't lose my ovary, thankfully. And while I was lying in my bed recovering, I heard my womb for the first time in my whole life. I had 3 children. Naturally had the best births, but I was never aware of my womb and how much my womb played a role in all of that. it was really an awakening for me. And I then started reading more about books about it, and I was really like, oh my gosh, I'm listening to my womb for the first time. And it really got me thinking on how for our children, how this has to change. It has to change going forward. Their journey into this. It is the most important rite of passage out of all three. You've got your menage, you've got becoming a mother, and then you've got becoming the crone. And becoming your going into your menage is what is the, it's like sets it sets the tone for the other two, and it builds that foundation for the other two. And it's all, you know, it's your confidence going into a mother. You need that confidence, you need that empowerment, and you're not going to get that if it doesn't start when you start your journey into womanhood, which is through the womb, and which is when you start your first bleed. And I feel like us women, it's been so lost, it's been forgotten, it's been distorted, it's been destroyed. And it's time to change that. And the only way we're going to change that is by helping our young girls to understand that it is sacred, it is beautiful, it's celebrated, it really is, it is so special. And I just feel like it is, it's just so important to change this for our daughters going forward. So that is what then
I love this. I know it, Taz. I know you know what I'm going to say now.
Look, I'm just like having a hallelujah moment is what I'm having. Like, honestly, I'm having goosebumps. And I just want to say, Clay, like, you just, you know, your story, just how this all started for you, I feel like that is, all of us have that story within us, you know, and that's what kind of leads us to our purpose, or some part of our purpose. And I just want to like really honor you in this moment for sharing that, because I can only imagine what that must have been like for you. You know, to go through the processes of like fear and anger, and, you know, all the usual kind of human responses, but then to rise out of it and see the beauty of the gift that it's actually brought you. I'm just like literally just in awe at the moment.
So I want to bring in also just something for me that's so profound here, Claire, is, okay, so the 3 stages. So one is menage, right? What was the second one?
Is when you become a mother.
Okay, mother. And then the third one is menopause, right?
Yes.
So now I know this is going to be controversial, but that is what I do, and I'm going to put that out there. But it's so interesting for me how both the menage and the menopause begin with M.
With the word.
Yeah. So and I know that this will be very controversial, but it really is, it's resonating with me so much that I need to share it.
I'm so glad you are. Yeah, we've got to call it for what it is.
Let's call it for what it is. I mean, genuinely, guys. No, well, I mean, the bottom line is, and so I'm going to share just a little bit of my journey here, because I think it's so interlinked with yours, and I think it'll just be so beautiful to flow, excuse the pun, into where you're going to go with this. And so I'm a typical Gen X woman. So I came out of a generation that was very much the kind of warrior generation of feminism. Let's word it like that, you know, going into corporate spaces and wanting to be heard and seen and all of that. So whilst that was great, in many ways it wasn't, because we almost shut down the feminine and became little men in those environments. I come from a big corporate environment, you know, I mean, Tassie and I laugh, you know, wore these big double-breasted suits with these huge big shoulder pads. You know, I mean, genuinely, it was actually ridiculous. But it was a time and a moment in time and space that needed to happen.
It did need to happen, yes.
But but very much driven by the patriarchy,
yes,
of male domination, and I'm going to call it as it is, because I think this is what is shifting so beautifully now, is that we are starting to see the feminine come into her own and rise. And she never went away, she just went underground. But now
for a while.
Yes, exactly. But now, thankfully, we are re-emerging. But my journey was around not being able to fall pregnant. So literally, years and years of fertility treatments and trying to fall pregnant, and interestingly also with cysts, but all on my feminine side. And through obviously the inner journey and the inner work, I know exactly why. I mean, I had totally tapped out of my feminine and completely embraced the masculine, internally. Externally not, but internally, got to be that strong, woman, got to be able to sit around that boardroom. Yes, got to keep up with it, sit around that boardroom table with the men. And so for me, I mean, it manifested in not being able to procreate, and having all of these issues with obviously my female parts, but all in the feminine side. And so it was literally a journey of realizing that was my inner journey of understanding that and releasing all of that, which was it was a journey. And I mean, Tassie walked that journey with me. But what's so fascinating is at the age of 40, about to turn 41, I made the decision then to actually let go of the control as well, which is very much a masculine trait. And just be open to receiving a soul, whatever way this little soul chose to arrive. And we put our names down for adoption, and this beautiful soul chose to come through that route. But it was really interesting, and it only happened. It literally, I mean, we put our names down and waited, and the day I was told that I would not naturally conceive because I had no more eggs. Literally, when the prof sat me down and said, "This is it," we're done from that perspective. And letting that go and releasing it. That was on the Friday. On the Monday, the phone rang, and it was the adoption agency to say we'd been chosen.
That's
so I know it. I mean, it really is something quite quite phenomenal and special. But it so links with your story, and just to think about the language that we apply and we use as well. I mean, so these words that, with all due respect, start with MEN for me, I feel like we almost have to now start birthing new words and new language. I mean, look at menopause, men on pause. Right?
I know. You are so right. And I actually, it's so crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to.
No, but thank you for bringing that up, because I actually I never put the two and two together, that there's menage, mother, menopause. It's
So the mother is beautiful.
Where does the man fit into that?
Yes, exactly. And can I just say, in the crone space, men on pause, actually the complete opposite. It's like,
no, exactly.
No, it's freedom.
Resurgence for some women, it's like a reawakening for a lot of women in the crone phase.
It is.
The embodiment and the sexuality. It's just
So
it's fascinating.
Yeah, you reach that time of your life where you actually don't give there's no holding anything back.
No.
No.
Like, this is me.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so maybe we'll birth some new terms or new
Well,
words
thank you
along
for
the
that.
way.
I'm going to stick with that. I really think
Yes.
that's a great plan.
We'll have you back on once
Yes.
once that's happened. But no, but beautiful, and thank you for your sharing. So then this has obviously led you into your into what
and
you're about to do.
what I missed in that whole introduction was, and Tassie knows, I went from after I had my youngest, I then dived into becoming a energetic healer. And it was just so funny how it didn't ever, I love what I got out of all of it. And there was like massive growth and massive abundance, and just like amazing manifestation, and all of that was just amazing that I got from that journey. But nothing ever opened for me. The doors were never able to open, like nothing flowed. It didn't flow. So that was it's amazing how when I surrendered, it then took me full circle back to healing myself. So I wanted to be this healer, and I then became. It took me right back to healing me, which was really profound, because at the end of the day we all healing ourselves. It's not about somebody healing you. You are healing yourself, and it's your journey, and it's just people along the way that are guiding you or holding you or facilitating you, but it's all about your journey. So that was a big one for me.
And what was your womb? You said you were listening to your womb.
Yeah, I wanted
for the
to
first
ask
time.
that.
What was it saying?
It was
what
saying,
was
she was saying, I'm broken. I am broken, broken, and you have never acknowledged me. You have never seen me. You have never heard me. And I'll never forget it, lying in my bed and just holding because obviously that's where my operation was my womb. And it was I remember just
emotional.
crying.
That just touched me. That really just touched me. I got goosebumps hearing you say that, Claire. And it's so interesting. I know I may not have gone through an experience such as yours, but I think I first started my bleed at the age of 9, which is like really, really young. And I'm so grateful that you are doing this to support both moms and daughters, especially this one that's coming up, because we never had that kind of support. Everything was so kind of detached, it was very surgical in a sense, like with some of the coldness, because and this is not to blame anybody, people just didn't have
how it was.
It's like you just get your sanitary pads, and it's like you just got to get on with it. And I'm like, oh my God, 9-year-old.
And I think that's for me is like the most in all my circles. It's like I know that narrative of, but now you're a big girl, you're a woman now, and not even to your face, to other people, like that your family members, now she's a woman, now she's a big girl, and you like standing there going, I don't actually know what you mean. That confusion, especially for a 9-year-old, is just it is so. That's what causes all the problems later on, and then what becomes fear, and what becomes just distorted, and then the self-esteem gets so affected in all of it. So that is like my biggest thing. Sorry.
And that whole thing of okay, so now now the whole sex conversation comes up, and then it's like, well, you can't have sex now because if you fall pregnant, that it's like, don't you dare fall pregnant. Certainly my generation, like my worst thing would have to come home and tell my parents I was pregnant. Absolutely, that fear of like so you're living in this constant separation of this beautiful thing of creation, that you have.
Separate,
yes, and you've completely separated. Wow.
What's worse is that the pill or the contraceptive that women take actually blocks all intuition and all that everything that your womb is trying to tell you. That you can't get anything from your womb if you are on the contraception. So I really feel like we're moving into we really are moving into a new world now where that has to shift, because that fear has to, and I really feel that the way to change that is by empowering our young girls to start, even to understand it before their bleed starts, how important it is for them to chart their cycle. And by doing that, by listening to their bodies, and by becoming aware of the fact that your body has seasons, just like everything goes in cycles. We have the moon has its own cycles. We have the seasons have its own cycles. We as women are cyclical beings. We are so connected to nature. The snake is a cycle. The snake coils. Like we are the snake, and those seasons are. If as a woman and a young girl, you can understand and see and feel that you are in your winter now, you are in your autumn now, I'm in my summer now, and that's that's when you're ovulating, and then you can know like when it's okay, when is the right time that I can have sex, and when is the time where it's not okay for me to have sex, and you can make that empowered decision yourself without anybody telling you, by knowing and feeling and being completely in tune with your body. That is what has to shift, because we have all those tools within us, and it's all about that empowerment and that knowing and completely trusting our bodies. And we can only do that if we are fully present, and there's nothing blocking that. Because our bodies know, and our womb speaks to us every month, and that is the biggest thing. And I think it's gonna be hard to break through that, because there is just so much fear. I mean, I'm a mom. I've got an 11-year-old daughter now, and that we really need to shift this whole oh my gosh, pregnancy. But then again, it's all that like empowerment. If you are empowered and you are confident and you have then you will, nobody's going to be able to mess with you. Nobody's going to be able to tell you, I want to have sex with you. So there's that like, I don't want to go, this is going completely off the topic now, but that is I feel like for moms, it's a very important factor that we're going to have to face. If we are going to change this, going forward, the whole contraceptive thing.
Yes, and also for I think young women to understand, and young men to understand, that definitely. Energetically, the whole beautiful sexual act, intercourse, whatever you want to call it, is a very energetic coming together of two people. It's sacred. Thank you. That's exactly, it's a sacred
that divine
union. That's that divine union. And specifically for women, I mean, you're inviting energetically into your womb everything that partner you've chosen
that comes
carries.
with the partner.
Yes. So that is now energetically within you, or within your,
that's what you're choosing or accepting, if you
So I mean, and I think a lot of young women don't understand that, it's beyond just physical. It's got a whole energetic aspect around it.
Totally. But so that's where I'm hoping that this, that we'll get to. But for now, it's just for the young girls and for moms to really understand that it's that empowering them with tools, so that they can completely become one with their bodies, and our womb is actually the woman's brain. Like, that is our brain. This is not what we need to listen to. Our womb is what we need to listen to. Our womb always knows. And the bleed is, and then the whole, like, because when you are on your cycle, when you are on your bleed, that is when it's like a portal opens, and you've got a complete you have got this connection with your ancestors, and they are telling you stuff, and that's when you have the most amazing dreams, or you just, because you're in this beautiful dreamy love bubble when you're on your bleed. It's the most beautiful thing, when you can feel that, and you are in that love bubble, and you are getting communication lines from your ancestors. That's why that's why we need to be hibernating. That's why it's called winter when you are on your bleed, because you are meant to be in that space of just you, and nourishing you, and resting. And then the downloads are coming in from your ancestors, and that's when you get a beautiful idea for a new project, or something that you've been wanting to finish. Somehow you just get the plan together, and you're like, that's what I need to do, and I'm going to do it, and then it's done. Or something that hasn't been flowing suddenly just flows, because you've got that assistance and that help, that support from your ancestors. And it's real. It's not just, it really happens.
That's what I was saying. It is real, because I feel so I'm in that perimenopausal phase, like entering menopause, and I never had any of this kind of foundation or support growing up. Do you know what I mean? There were no circles to really support a young woman, and at the age of 9. And I feel like now, at this stage of my journey, that I'm actually gaining all this womb wisdom that you're speaking of now. I'm gaining that in these years. And it's just so beautiful, because I feel I was so detached from my bleed. It always felt like it was a chore. It felt like it was something that, like a punishment. And also, if you look at some of, let's talk about religious and societal texts and contexts, that you are also, you get to believe that that's kind of a burden, and you are forbidden from doing things.
Dirty.
Yes, you're dirty. You're forbidden from doing things. You are untouchable. It's like, and I'm in that place where I've honored the hibernation of this phase when I'm on my bleed. It's like I really just do take care of myself. And it's so interesting you say that, because now that I think about it, all those, and I tell you this, how often do I tell you this? Actually, once a month, I do say I'm at that place where I'm just doing the doing. I'm in the place of, and it usually is around the time of my bleed. I mean, these are not things that I learned growing up. I mean, I speak to my sister about it, and she says exactly the same. Like, the knowledge, the womb wisdom we are gaining in our later years are things that we wish we had known when we were younger. But now we are kind of supporting my niece. She's 11, and we kind of support her with that insight, and we try to impart the wisdom that we've gained through our own experience, and just create a beautiful space for her to experience her womanhood.
Oh, how beautiful.
And but to be able to know that we can still, that we're not, just because we never had this when we were younger, doesn't mean we can't access the beauty of it.
Exactly. And I think it's so important not to hold that that resentment to how it was for us, because it just was that way, like we said, the feminine was lost, the feminine was like buried. And that is not our parents' fault or their parents' fault. It's just,
just was.
It's not about blaming, but it's about now what can we do? And so that's just so beautiful. And that's how I feel about my daughter and her friends, and how, and that's how the circle started. It was literally my daughter and her friends. And I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I have to do this. I have to continue this. And it's really been so special to hold that space for these young girls. And it feels so ancient and so natural and so right to be sitting in circle together and to be holding that space for each other. You can just like that, just you can see these girls, how they, you know, how they're able to hold that space for themselves and for each other, even if they don't know each other. Just that it's that right, that just feels so right, and it feels like this is how we used to sit, you know. And that's what's happening now again, which is it's just so beautiful.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And like Tezzy, you were talking about growing up and also how, I mean, I just remember always dreading that time of month, you know, because the whole narrative was, oh no, you know, can't do sport, can't, it's going to be sore, you know, I'm not going to feel great. I mean, that was the constant programming around it, instead of welcoming it. You know, when I think back now, I mean, no wonder it wasn't there to serve me when I needed to have it, because I'd just been, you know, knocking the whole beauty of this, you know, all my life. And then suddenly when I was like, okay, well, come to the party now. No.
We didn't know how to embrace it, though. You know, we just didn't know how to embrace it.
You're right. And the other thing that I had to release, which was very interesting, just sharing my story, was the chauvinism that I carried. So forget, you know, the male chauvinist, right? But actually, I equally had huge amounts of chauvinism, you know, around the masculine, obviously angry and, you know, because I was a warrior in that space, there was a lot of anger around suppression and all of that kind of thing. So that was a huge form of chauvinism, and I had to do that inner journey to because it's ego, right? I had to actually work through all of that.
That's so beautiful.
I don't think I've ever heard you say it like that. I don't think I've ever heard you actually articulate it in that way. That is profound, just in itself.
It really is, and it's just so beautiful for you to see it like that, you know.
Absolutely. Now, you know, but Tezzy was sharing. I mean, I am now in, you know, menopause, and well, no, see, I can't even use the word. But I'm in that beautiful crone stage.
Cronehood.
Yes. Cronehood. Yes, I love it. And that for me is, having done the work, there's just, well, you know this, Tezzy, you've walked this journey with me. There's just such a different space for me now. And it's exciting.
Beautiful space.
It's a beautiful space. Oh my
gosh, talk about embracing. I feel this is really like, your season of embracing, you know, your full femininity and the embodiment of
the creator, you know, the creator within, you know, that was, I mean, even my creation, I'm an exceptionally creative person, but that got suppressed equally with all of this other stuff going on, you know. So so Claire, share with us what is the course? I mean, is it a weekend? Is it one day? And maybe just a little bit of what happens in the course.
So I normally, so it's normally a 3-hour, 4-hour circle, and I've been doing them on Saturday mornings, just because it just works really well. We do. I always bring in some creativity into it. So we've worked with clay, we've made roses out of clay, and there's just something so beautiful about women being creative together and just sitting and just being creative together. There's just so much magic in that. And so the first one I did, I went with my intuition completely, and the girls made, I asked that they got to choose what they wanted to make out of their clay. And then they, I told them that they could keep that whatever they made. So some of them made flowers, some of them just made roses, which was amazing. because the rose is so connected to your womb, like you know, like just like our hands. If you look at our hands represent the leaf, like the veins on a leaf. The rose is our vagina, our vulva. Like it's literally a like exact replica of the rose. And so so some of them made roses, some of them made like a little doll, and then we said to keep that for when they have their first bleed, and if they want to paint their they can this is going completely like all out, use their blood once their blood is actually flowing, to use their blood and to paint whatever they made, and to keep that as their sacred reminder of their menage, their start of their cycle. Because long ago this was celebrated. It was huge. It was, you know, the girl was fussed over, she was dressed in the most beautiful clothes, she was, you know, she went and spent like, I don't know, it was like weeks sometimes or months with the crone on her own. And the crone then like just basically like told her what she's going to go through, and gave her all that wisdom. And then there was like all the ceremony about it. Like they would, the girl who had just started her bleed would, there's this one beautiful story where she makes bread, and she makes the bread herself. She has to mix it and knead it, and then she actually serves this bread to her whole community, and it's their way of welcoming her as this transformed,
I love that.
Transformed
beautiful
girl into, and she's now a woman because of the start of her cycle. So, you know, I really feel like it's okay for us to embrace something like painting, you know, something like painting that really serves as a potent reminder of this beautiful initiation, because that's really what it is. So we did that, and then we also brought in our lineage, mom, granny. We made a collage. I've got my daughters over here, if you can see. So she brought in aspects of me, of herself, and of my mom, and of my and also she brought in her nana, which is my husband's late mom. And
so beautiful.
So they brought in, so they literally made a collage of their lineage. So something that represents themselves, something that represents their mom, their granny, and then it's just and then we just they just put it all on a heart, and so that was really special. And then I do a guided meditation, obviously bring in the wisdom around the womb, and around the rose, and around, you know, all these things that we you know. I bring in like what to use when your cycle starts, like the, you know, there's the pad, and talking about how the tampon is there, but it's also actually not it's really not actually serving, and definitely not serving young girls. Talking about how there is the option now where you can choose the organic versus the carcinogens, that because they really are all laced in carcinogens. And then talking about the cup, which obviously you can only use later on. You can't use that as a young girl, but there's now bleed panties. So talking about all of that, so that it's, you know, really helping them to know what they, you know, what they're going to be using, show them how to put it on their panties. And now it's amazing that we've got bleed panties now. So there's even bleed costumes that they can use, so you don't actually have to worry about using a tampon when you are bleeding, or you're going to do a ballet show or a gymnastics show and you don't want something showing. You can just, you know, use panties now. I mean, how beautiful is that?
Wow. And also the fact that they have choice.
Exactly.
You know, that there's not just one way of doing it because this is how it's always been done, but that there's this beautiful realm of choice, and that they can be empowered to make those choices. Exactly. You know, a free will, you know, in terms of so beautiful, really beautiful.
And then we also bring in some, we drink some rose tea to bring in the essence of the rose, because the rose is such a powerful teacher and such a powerful ally in this journey. And yeah, she really holds, like, she, just by drinking her, there's so many different healing like aspects of her, and the benefits that she has is just amazing. And so I'm actually currently doing a rose shamanism training to learn more about her. Yeah, so that I can bring that in and just anchor that with this work, because she really is, like I said, she is such a powerful part of all of this, you know. Yeah, that's basically, and that really does take up the the 3-4 hours of the circle, and obviously it's like I normally give them the clay, and then we do the talking, like the talking stuff, but we're sitting in circle. So it's not this, like, you know, all this information thrown at them. And I'd also break it up, so it really is, and bring them into the discussion, you know, it's not just me talking.
Beautiful. The power of the circle, just to ask you to share for those that are wondering why the circle is so beautiful. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so that's what I was just going to say now. you read my mind. So it's to hold that space, that's a safe space to be able to discuss something that is sensitive, that is, you know, it's new. This is a topic that's been taboo for we all know for how long? So it really is. That's was my intention, was to create a space where that is held, that, you know, girls from all girls. I haven't got to. I actually did one where I had a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. But yeah, you know, to hold that space for everything that girls are going to bring to this circle, you know, and for them to feel safe to you know, bring up whatever they want to discuss or ask, or and I think that is the most important, is to hold that space and discuss all of the stuff that hasn't been discussed before.
So openly and transparent, and
very transparent,
without judgment, you know. It's so beautiful. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've got other questions, Taz, but I just want to say that
I just go, you know.
No, just to say, this absolutely feeds my soul. I mean, it truly does. It's you know, having walked the journey that I've walked and that you've walked, and I mean, this is so relevant. It's so right for now. Sad it's taken us this long, but I think we know the energies are very different now. So the time is divine timing, right? Exactly. But just to honor you, Claire, for what you're doing, and just wow. I mean, and I know that this has got, it's quantum, you know, you've got so many amazing angles. Hopefully at some point, you know, the young boys can also be acknowledged. And then
yes, I wanted to say that is my yeah, it's just, this is not to exclude the boys, because I really feel like this is that is another another arm of this, is that is just so important. I really also really want to take this into schools. And you know how we used to have the puberty discussions at school, and it was girls go one side, boys go one side, and I feel like that is what needs to change, because how is a boy supposed to hold space for a girl when he doesn't know what she's going through, and how is a girl supposed to hold space for a boy when she doesn't know what he's going through? And that whole so talking about divine union, it's got to be together. Why must it be separate? It's not, it's just thinking about the boys, like their voice breaks and their testicles drop, it's sore and it's painful, and nobody talks about that. And that is what needs to be. Girls need to understand that it's not, you don't laugh at them when their voice sounds funny. And you're not going to laugh at a girl when she's crying because she's tearful and she's in a very like fragile state. It's that understanding and holding that space for each other, which is only going to happen when it's transparently expressed that way. And
so beautiful.
Opening those pathways of conversation. I think that's that has to shift.
And the inner standing, from both sides. Don't like the word understanding, but the inner standing of where they're both coming from. My son was at a Waldorf school in primary, and they did a beautiful sort of session with the boys and the girls did go separate, but then they came together to have a conversation about it, and they had this beautiful box. The girls did with all the pads and the natural oils and things if there was pain and that kind of in the box. And the boys, so they opened the box and shared with the boys what was in the box, because the box in the classroom, and so the boys were fully aware of it wasn't this box that you boys aren't allowed to look at it, it was just really, and I can see, my son now 16 going on 17, and I can see the empathy that he has for all his friends that are girls, like he'll say, amazing. Oh mom, it's that time of the month for so and so, and she's not feeling great, it's a whole different way in which he's navigating this.
It's that subtle, it's just that subtle, like, it doesn't have to be like that, just by him seeing that, then because you make those connections immediately, and you don't lose that if you are transparently communicated with. I feel like that is the key, is that it's all about that transparency.
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
I wanted to ask you, how different is this from other circles you may have held, being mom and daughter present in this space? Like how?
So sorry, Taz. Were you finished? Sorry, I interrupted.
I just want to know how does that change the dynamic of how you would normally do it without moms being present?
It's actually interesting. It happened like organically with the last one I did with where I collaborated with Layla, where moms, actually some moms requested to come with, and so we allowed them to come, and so that was my first. So there were not everybody had a mom there, but there were about there were 3 moms that joined us, and so that was like a really beautiful glimpse for me to feel into that having a mom there present with her daughter. And so then when Lisa came to me and said, can we do a mom and daughter, I was like, yes, because this is it really did feel right to have the mom and the daughter there. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I really think it's so important for the daughters to see their moms, you know, and getting their like handle on the whole thing, and then for the moms to hold that space for their daughters. And like us, I think there's so much to learn as moms now about this, you know, stuff that we didn't know. So I think it's just so I think it's just beautiful. And I think going forward, like I want to do another one because this is going to be in Somerset West. I want to do another one. I actually haven't done a mom and daughter one in my area, so I'm hoping to do another one in November, where it will also be mom and daughter.
So just to share with the viewers that this is on the 1st of October, right?
Yes, this is on the 1st of October. We do still have space.
Great.
You can find, Taz, you can put my email address, my number I'll give that all to you, and then you can also follow me on Instagram.
Insta.
It's Claire Loves Magic with a K.
Yes.
Lisa is taking the bookings for this one, and we do still have space.
Fantastic.
Okay, good.
And
I'll put all the information in the description box. I'll also link your Instagram account. So everyone will have access to that. So 1st of October is like not too far away. No. So I'm hoping that there are moms and daughters called to this, who will sign up to fill those extra spaces, because it's an absolutely beautiful offering, so needed.
Thank you.
And just to create that space of freedom and of healing and just of beauty for this process that, you know, so many of us have experienced in very different ways. So thank you, Claire. I want to thank you for your time today. I want to thank you for sharing. And we're definitely going to have you. I mean, I don't know about you, Al, but I'd love to have you back on at some point. We can talk about, you know, how this has evolved, because definitely see that evolution of this. And if there's anything else we can talk about that we feel the community out there needs, you know, whatever it is that you want to talk about, what you're sharing, what you're offering. So we'll definitely love to have you back on. I just want to thank you for today.
Thank you.
I'd like to talk more about the rose, to be honest. Yes. I mean, for me,
that's another installment.
Definitely.
We have an interesting dynamic where I'm fully galactic and Tassie's more shamanic, although there isn't separation, right? Because we are all one.
All one.
Yes, all one. But so I love when I'm hearing more of the shamanic stuff, because it helps ground me. So I would love to hear more about the rose. Once you're ready to share, just let us know.
Amazing. I will do. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so
Claire.
much. It's been such an honor to speak to you both, and my heart is just so full. Thank you for your beautiful work and for holding this beautiful space for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Bye.
you. So much love.
So much love.
So much love.